Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you guys for being here. I hope you guys are doing well. So today's story is quite bizarre. I've seen a couple of videos on this and also have read a couple of articles on the story. If you are in the Philippines, you've probably seen this all over the news. Now, the Philippines suspect Mayor Alice Guo of being a Chinese spy. So this young mayor is currently serving in the municipality of Bamban. This is a quaint little town located north of Manila in the province of Tarlac. So this town has become quite popular in the last week because it has become the epicenter of national controversy following allegations that its young mayor is a Chinese agent. So who is this woman? Her full name is Alice Guo. I'm going to put that on the screen. And also, this information is available on Wikipedia if you'd like to look it up. So she's 35 years old. She is a businesswoman and is the current mayor of this, town called Bamban in the province of Tarlac. And she's been a mayor there since June 30, 2022. So I've seen a couple of clips on this hearing, the Senate hearing. She speaks fluent Tagalog. And she said she's lived her whole life in the Philippines. She was born and raised there in the Philippines. So she was called in for this hearing in the Senate committee inquiry because Go was alleged by Senators Risa Ontiveros and Win Gatchalian to have links to illegal activities by Philippine Offshore Gaming Operators called POGO. They raided these POGO centers in the Philippines. And this POGO centers, this facility is actually in that town where she is currently serving as mayor in Bamban. So they raided these places in 2023 and 2024, these facilities. And she faced scrutiny over her involvement with a local Philippine offshore gambling operator, POGO Center. And let's talk about this POGO Center because this place is quite interesting. So this place is humongous. This is an 8-hectare compound. It's like a little city, complete with a grocery store, a warehouse, swimming pool, and even a wine cellar. This place is humongous. And during that raid, during that operation, the law enforcement found 700 workers, including 202 Chinese nationals. Apparently, those were the managers, and 73 other foreigners who were forced to pose as online lovers. So we're not talking about just, this scam operation, money laundering. There's also human trafficking. I mean, this place is quite interesting. So she was called in for that, an investigation on that. And during her testimony on this Senate hearing, she became very suspicious because her answers were very vague and inconsistent. She was unable to answer questions about her family history and upbringing during this Senate hearing. This led to one senator, I believe this was Senator Risa Ontiveros, to ask her whether she was an asset of Beijing. And her citizenship is now in question because, of course, her last name is Go. So I would assume that her father is a Chinese. Maybe he was a Chinese and became a Filipino citizen, but they asked for documentations on that and they found two conflicting information. So I'm looking at my screen right now. The father, who was apparently born either in 1953 or 1954, they can't pinpoint which year, on his birth certificate, he was identified with a Filipino name, as Angelito Go. I can talk today. And while his business documents listed him as a Chinese national named Jian Zhonggo. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. I'm going to put it on the screen. So those are two conflicting information on her father and the father's citizenship. So now because of that, her citizenship is in question. Now she said she can't provide much information on her mother because she said her mother abandoned her when she was a child. So because of that, people became very suspicious of her. And again, that led to one senator asking her, "Are you an asset to Beijing?" So her vague and inconsistent answers to those questions led to more doubts about her identity and motives. And one person that's doubting her is the current president of the Philippines, Bongbong Marcos. And there are doubts there because, first of all, no one knows her. Nobody knows where she came from. In fact, the current governor of Tarlac even said, "I don't know her. I don't know where she just kind of showed up out of nowhere." So that's very interesting. Another thing is that they're questioning her citizenship because her birth certificate is also somewhat controversial. Now, her birth certificate, it was late registered when she was 17 years old. Now, this is not very uncommon in the Philippines, honestly, because if a lot of Filipinos who were born at home there are some parents out there who are not very proactive when it comes to registering their children's birth, especially if that birth happened at home. And she said she was born at home, so they didn't get the chance to register her birth, and so she ended up having a late registration of her birth certificate when she was 17. Now, a lot of times, when this happens to Filipinos, usually this gets corrected not at 17, earlier, because birth certificates are required for enrollment in school. So as soon as that child starts, first grade or even kindergarten, they ask for birth certificate. Now, she said that's not her case because even her educational background is somewhat questionable. Her murky educational background, again, is questionable because she said she was homeschooled. Nothing wrong with that. There are Filipinos out there who are homeschooled. But even with that, she couldn't really provide much information on that homeschooling. She can only name one homeschooling teacher and provide no solid details about that. So again, that's questionable. Doubts were further raised when it was discovered that she registered to vote in Bamban. This is the town where she's currently a mayor of. She registered her to vote in 2021, the year before she successfully ran for mayor. Now, this is kind of interesting. And again, she was called for this hearing because of her alleged ties to this large-scale scam operation. And they're calling her for that because this POGO center was built, this large facility was built in this land that apparently she partially owned. Now, that's really weird. And she said she knew nothing of this POGO, this Philippine Offshore Gaming Operation, even though she partially owned the land where it was built. Now, that's kind of weird. She's saying she has no knowledge of that because a lot of that is taken care of by her business partner. And another thing she said is that she has sold her stake in this land that this POGO facility is built the year before she was elected as mayor. Very convenient, very convenient. Okay. Of course, now that she's getting investigated, they're digging into her, lifestyle, social media, and all that stuff. And they found that she's quite wealthy. Now, is that impossible? Well, if she's a legitimate businesswoman, that's not impossible. But because of this investigation, they found that she owned a helicopter, a Ford Expedition, another luxury car. I'm not sure if it was a Porsche. She owns a lot of luxury goods. Of course, they're gonna look into that because again, this is an investigation. But apparently, just like the land, she said she claims that she has sold all of these a long time ago, maybe the year before she became mayor. So yeah, all of this just looks very, very suspicious, and Filipinos are like dubbing her the amnesia girl. This was this very popular movie in the Philippines of this girl having an amnesia, because that's what she is doing. On this hearing, she seems very collected, but she seems to have acquired an amnesia because she can't remember a lot of details on her childhood. Now, is that possible? That's possible, but I mean, suspicious. That's the problem. And again, her father's citizenship is also in question. Now, she finally had an interview and she's answered some of these questions. On the interview, she had an interview with Karen Davila in this one big network in the Philippines, ABS-CBN. I think that was Monday night. Okay, so on that interview, she revealed that she was her Chinese father's love child with his Filipino maid, and she said that's the reason why she did not want to bring up her her childhood I guess background, those memories, because she said, first of all, she said she was embarrassed. Apparently this was hidden. She was ashamed of being an illegitimate child, and she said a lot of these are very, very personal information, but of course now she has no choice but to share this information. And she said she can't provide a lot of information because she was hidden as a child. Her mother abandoned her, so she can't really provide information on her mother. But she said the recent update is that she is now willing to provide information on the identity of her mother. And yes, because of that childhood, she said she can't provide much information. She apparently stayed mostly inside the home, and she said she grew up in this family fig farm apparently, and so yeah, she didn't have any playmates, no friends, she didn't go to school, so there's not much to share apparently. So yes, all of that information, I guess, is it possible for that to be true? It could be, but again, it's very suspicious. Now, despite all of this, I saw some of the clips on that hearing. She seems to be very collected, which is kind of surprising. She seemed to have developed an amnesia, again, which is very interesting, very questionable there. And despite all of that, she said she will not resign. And she even said that she will seek re-election next year, because in the Philippines, mayors are allowed to have 3 terms. So yes, that's her response to that. She said, I am not a spy. I love the Philippines. I love my country, and I want to continue serving my constituents. I can say that. So this case continues to capture national attention, reflecting broader concerns over foreign influence in the Philippine politics and the integrity of public office holders. And the very recent update on this is that Secretary Abalos orders NAPOLCOM to remove Alice Guo's, that lady, the mayor, police power. So they're really looking into this now. Now, the question is she a Chinese spy? I mean, yeah, that's a possibility. I mean, it's not like it's surprising. I mean, countries do this all the time, not just China, Russia, I mean, America. I mean, that's how it goes, right? Is that possible? Of course it is possible. Or maybe not. Maybe she's just, a normal citizen like she claims to be. She said she has no connection and this and that. Maybe she's just a normal businesswoman. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about. If that is true, let's say that she is, they've proven that she is a Chinese spy. The fact that she was able to infiltrate the Philippines also shows you a side of the Philippines that a lot of people don't want to mention. The corrupt side of the country. Let's just put it out there. How did this person win that election? Because Filipinos, I voted in the Philippines. I know that Filipinos vote for their own people. Like, for example, I'm gonna have to explain this. BBM, Bongbong Marcos, is from the Ilocos region of the country, right? He doesn't even have to campaign there. Those people from Ilocos will most likely vote for him because he's from there. So Filipinos vote for their own folks. If they know you're kin, they know you're from their province, they will vote for you. They know that you're from that region, they will support you just because. I mean, some people will not even look at your achievements. The fact that you're from their province, they will vote for you. Now, if this person came out of nowhere, nobody knows her from this town. Some people are saying she actually grew up in Bulacan, not in this quaint little town. Then how in the world did she pull that off? How did she get these votes? Like, did she run this super amazing campaign? Like, how did she do that? And, it's also known in the Philippines that vote buying is still a big problem. So did she do that? Is that how she won the election? I don't know. I mean, all of this is alleged, okay? So I'm just curious, how did she win the election if she is not from that town, and if nobody knows her, she came out of nowhere? How did she pull that off? That's a big question. And if that is true, then that tells you something happened during the election or prior to the election. Something happened there. That's another problem. That shows you a side of the country that nobody wants to talk about, or maybe some people want to talk about but probably afraid to talk about it. Okay, the POGO facility. How in the world does this 8-hectare compound got built and nobody was suspicious of this place? I mean, this is pretty big and nobody was wondering what is this place about. Apparently, this place is very controversial because it's not just really like a facility where they run this large-scale scam operation. Apparently, this place also serves as a center for CCP to gather data and information, not just on Filipinos, but on Chinese that are in the Philippines. Some Chinese that are in the Philippines trying to seek refuge from persecution, political persecution, and some of them are trying to seek citizenship in the Philippines. And you probably heard of this before. Maybe I should talk about this in a separate video, but they're doing surveillance on those Chinese nationals. So they're saying that this facility also, is being used for that. So this is quite big. And I'm happy that the government, the current administration, is looking into this. Now, it's sad, but it's good that it will also expose the side of the country that people probably don't want to talk about or maybe ashamed to talk about, the corruption in the country, because that's a problem in the Philippines. All right, before I make this video too long, I'm gonna cut this video here. If you have any opinion or if you have any thoughts on this very interesting topic, you're more than welcome to do that in my comment section below. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, everyone.